You know how exciting it is to sit with a piece of paper and dream. You can write a to-do list. Nobody can write a to-do list better than you. Your challenge, though, when the time comes for you to take action, you do not trust yourself to honor with action the commitments that you must take to get from where you are to where you want to be. You are not achieving your dreams because you just don't trust yourself. Now, hear me out, because I know you don't have a problem envisioning a better future for yourself, dreaming about the amazing things that you could be doing with your time, your talents, your treasure. You do not have a problem writing goals. You know what a BHAG is, a big, hairy, audacious goal. You've got that down. You know how exciting it is to sit with a piece of paper and dream. You can write a to-do list. Nobody can write a to-do list better than you. Your challenge, though, when the time comes for you to take action, you do not trust yourself to honor with action the commitments that you must take to get from where you are to where you want to be. And I understand that is so hard. Let me take you back. When I was in my 20s, I had this amazing vision of being a writer. I was an English major. I read amazing books. And I'm like, why not me? Why can't I write a book? And that was the right question. I was asking the right question, but I wasn't applying the right effort. I had a full-time job at the time. I was working pharmaceutical sales. In my mind, I was going to write from 7 to 9 every night. I was going to sit down with a keyboard. I was going to type out my ideas for a book. And guess what? 7 to 9 every night would happen, but I'd be too tired. I just didn't know how to prioritize. I had laundry to do. This was going to be the night that I went out with my girlfriends. I just couldn't trust myself to honor those commitments. Until one week, it was a Saturday. I had 5 hours. I was going to dedicate, in many ways, catch up, right? I was going to dedicate to fulfilling my writing ambition. I was going to give that time, effort. Saturday came up, and I sat down and started writing, and guess what? It was really hard. It was harder than I had imagined, and I wanted to quit. In fact, I did quit. I got about 90 minutes in and said, maybe this goal isn't for me. And then I thought about actually just stepping away from it and what my life would be like if I didn't fulfill that ambition. And I sat with that sadness for about that week and just realized, you know what, the problem isn't the work. The problem is that my ability to trust that I can do the hard work. How can I get myself to sit down and do this and just white-knuckle the experience until I had something I could be proud of? Well, it did take a little bit of a time, but I'm proud to say now at this stage in my life, I've written 3 books. One went on to become a New York Times bestseller, so I know the practices on building self-trust lead to the results that you want to fulfill. And maybe you don't even want to write a book. Maybe it's a health goal, a wellness goal that you have, a relationship or career goal. Maybe it's not going to take as much time as you think, but it does start with self-trust. So I've got 5 tips for you that I'm going to walk you through that have worked for me, that have transformed my life. And I promise you, if you put effort into it, you're going to find that they're going to not only make your goals much more achievable, but you can start today. You can start today to take action to get you to that destination where you belong. And I say that sincerely, where you belong. Those dreams, those visions in your mind right now, that is your soul's expression of your potential. You belong there. So get out of your own way. Let's start with practice number 1. You need to understand your why. And you have to then make sure that your why becomes the way. Now, your why is what is your motivation to do this? Really, to get your why, think about your future self and how excited you're going to be if you achieve this ambition or goal or task or develop the skill. Think of what your success is going to look like. That, to me, is motivation. That becomes my why. That becomes my driving force. And so when I start to have those days when I don't really want to commit the effort, I think about my why and I just make it the way I move about life. So that's step number 1, getting internally focused on what success looks like so I can have motivation. I can see in my mind the result in my future. Step number 2, I breathe on it. You got that right? I breathe on it. I meditate. I know that sounds kind of new world and not everybody's into it, but I tell you, it has been a transformative on my commitment to my goals. And this is what it looks like. So like, again, I know my why, I let it become my way. And then I think about my future self and I sit and I close my eyes and I envision that in my mind of how happy, how exciting, how vibrant my life will be if I could only fill in the blank, whatever your fill in the blank is. So between understanding my why and breathing on it and allowing meditation to come in, it allows me to get aligned and focused, motivated and inspired. That is something only I can do. And so let's get tactical then. How do I make sure that these amazing things I'm dreaming about and envisioning in my life just actually happen? You may have heard the practice, win the morning, win the day. Now, I love that idea, but actually I want you to think about your morning starting the night before. What are you doing at the end of every day to prepare your future self for success? That's how I like to think about success happens. So before I go to bed, I lay out my next day, whether it's the clothes I'm going to wear, whether it's the alarm time I'm going to set, or the agenda that I need to create. I make sure my next day is very focused on moving those big boulders, those big rocks that represent big ideas that I want to achieve in my life. And I make sure my day is structured to accommodate these bigger visions for myself. So the night before, do your future self a favor and just prepare the next day. It could even be a meal preparation, just so you know that you've got your next day's self covered. So all that person has to do is wake up when the alarm goes off and start executing. Take the guesswork out of the next day for your future self. Set them up, tee them up, give them a really good roadmap to follow that allows them to adhere for not just their today goals, but their future goals. Simple things, doesn't take that much time. Now, the fourth practice I'm going to talk about is something I mentioned earlier. There are times when you have to white-knuckle experience. You've got to grit it out. Pursuing your goals and ambitions is going to be hard work because it requires behavior change. A behavior change is not necessarily easy. If I were to say you must change your behavior to eat donuts and cake for breakfast, you'd be like, great, I could do that. That would be easy behavior change. Now you'd have to live with the consequences, of course, which can be hard. But those are easy behavior changes to make. But when it comes to maybe working out or writing or networking or asking friends for favors or doing some exterior home project, it's going to take a little bit of time. It's not an easy change. So you're going to have to white knuckle the experience. You know, you think about driving for the first time, being scared, holding that steering wheel, going down the road, and, you know, wanting to sometimes just pull off and deep breath in and deep breath out and get back on the road. That's a white knuckle experience. And for me, what that means sometimes is knowing that I'm going to be uncomfortable when I'm changing my behavior and starting new habits. And the best way I know to get through them is just to remind myself in the moment why I'm doing it and telling myself this is supposed to be hard because it requires change. And I promise you, about 10 minutes into a white knuckle experience, you're going to be okay. You're going to get past the jitters, the nervousness. You're going to get past any sort of stress that you're experiencing because you're just going to be in it and you're going to be focused. As long as you can get past the discomfort, you're going to find yourself ready, willing, able to build that commitment. And you know what I've discovered too? If I can withstand a white knuckle experience, I am more trusting of myself to do it again. That is how self-trust gets built. So the fifth step in building self-trust is really simple. Don't get so attached to the outcome. Focus on the now. You know, as we walk through this whole process, I am thinking of envisioning and imagining and breathing and really committing to the actions and white knuckling, but also try to be in the moment. Don't worry about tomorrow. Focus on what you can control today that's going to allow you to build trust, because self-trust is built in moments. So again, don't necessarily think about the outcome when you're in the experience. Think about the experience that you're in and feel proud because you're making a committed effort to transform an area of your life that is significant to you. I want you to build self-trust. It's demonstrated not just by ideation and action and endurance, and you build this positive cycle of momentum. If you can start with an experience, if you can hang with it, and you can see it through. Remember, we are but a sum of our choices. Make the choices today that honor your best intentions of how you want to live and achieve your life. I know you've got this within you, and I'm here to support you, and I cannot wait to hear how successful you're going to be. And if this video was meaningful to you, I please ask, subscribe to my channel, The Actual Angie. I want to be here for you on your journey to becoming the best version of yourself, and share this video with a friend, trusted colleague, family member, somebody in your community too, who is also trying to be the best version of themselves. Because I know together we can actualize. We can be the best version of ourselves. We can reach our fulfilled potential. We can do these things. It just starts by commitment, focus, and as I said, a little bit of grit. See you soon.